Oh my God. We're trying to fix the audio for Red Dead. Let me fix this. Again, I don't know what it might be. It was working the other day. Yesterday, 2 days ago? No idea. Is this loading in? Boom. Boom. Triple double boom. Ooh. So we are still playing this gardening game. Let me put it away. Honestly, we probably just won't keep any of that just because freaking troubleshooting is so hard. We're doing darkest moments in TV history. No. Also, yeah, I mean, we have crossover opened up right here. We'll just keep troubleshooting
Now,
Red
which of
Dead.
these
It worked hardcore. I was gonna make an apology video for the first Red Dead or whatever, just because we were getting a lot of money, and then you lose $2 every time you die, go to the hospital. So we ended up just negative maxing. Our bounty is like 3,000. Like our bounty is super high. We're just gonna keep raising our bounty. And we're literally just murdering everyone on accident. We're cowboys. Yeah, but then we're gonna do a nice playthrough. So we're gonna do apology, apology video, and then nice playthrough so we could get to whatchamacallit, the best. Look at this though. Jenny Jones incident.
ways would you
What?
choose to reveal your secret crush on someone? A, would you write that person a letter?
Oh no, are we already? Otto?
It's March 6th, 1995, as taping begins on an all-new episode of The Jenny Jones Show.
Jenny
The program was
Jones.
essentially a tabloid talk show centered around everyday people caught up in unusual circumstances, which made for an entertaining yet often questionable
This is about
program, with the showrunners doing everything in their power to make the content as shocking and sensational as possible. And this episode was set to be no
we're doing
different.
this for posture.
The segment centered around 6 people, each of whom had a secret admirer, who would be revealed for the very first time here on the show, with the most compelling of the group by far shaping up to be 24-year-old Jonathan Schmitz. Like the others, someone had a long-standing crush on Jonathan, but was too afraid to tell him. And upon hearing of this, Jonathan hoped in the back of his
I'm already calling it. I think I've seen this one. Isn't it like a gay thing?
mind that it
Let's
would
keep
be his
watching.
longtime ex-girlfriend, who he had
No?
a newfound interest in marrying, though he was in for quite a shock. The twist in the episode was that Jonathan's secret admirer was actually a man named Scott
Boom.
Amador. The two were actually good
Wait,
friends,
what
though
happens?
Scott had never once mentioned having any sort of romantic interest in him, due to the fact that Jonathan was
Gay?
straight, and had never given any sort of indication otherwise, setting the scene for what was surely going to be a shocking reveal.
I'm a
A
little
reveal
nervous.
that the crowd just couldn't wait to see.
B, would you tell the person in private in case he rejects you? Or C, would you tell that person that you're gay and you hope he is on national television?
Dude. It's good. That's good content. That's good TV right there, though. That's hilarious, bro. Look. You could tell by the way this guy's saying no that he's one of them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's good content. I watch it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he kills himself or the other guy. So I do think it's bad. But I'm like, that's
The
funny,
host,
dude.
Jenny
Good
Jones, starts
concept.
by talking to Scott and a mutual friend, inquiring as to how this crush began in the first place.
I want you now to meet Donna and Scott. Now, Donna has been helping Scott pursue his secret crush on John. John's backstage. He can't hear us. How bad's the crush? Tell me about the first time you met him. Where was he?
Basically, well, he was under a car working on her brake line.
Yeah. And that was your first time? What was your first impression?
Well, I only saw the lower half of him, so you can imagine.
Before she begins to dig even deeper,
I saw
pushing
love.
Scott to disclose as much graphic
Yeah.
personal information as possible, just to make things that much more entertaining, and his answers did not disappoint.
Okay, you think about you have fantasies about him?
I've had a couple, yeah.
Yeah, you had when he was under the car, you had a fantasy about him.
Yeah, something to do with like brake oil line snapping and.
You have another one that involved you were in a hammock or something. Tell us about that fantasy.
Yeah, I thought about tying him up to my hammock.
With all of Scott's
Hey,
secrets
yo.
now out in
Oh.
the open, it was time to bring out the man himself, the object of Scott's affection, who had absolutely no idea what he was walking into.
Dude, bro's walking on stage like, damn, this fat chick has a crush on me. Well, canceled, but then it's like, no, this is about to get way worse.
Let's have John come out here and see who has the crush on him. Here's John.
Look, see the kiss on the face? He expects it to be the chubby girl. Yeah, she fine as hell. Yeah, out of pocket. Ain't no way. He's like, you brought your gay best friend? I think he fully accepted that it was the girl. Like, walking out, he was like, listen, I've always had a thing for, can I feed you? Like, that was his thoughts walking out.
This was the pivotal moment of the show, the big reveal, and perhaps overcome by the excitement of the ratings that she assumed this would bring her, Jenny Jones could hardly wait to blurt out who Jonathan's admirer truly was.
Did you think Donna had the crush on you?
Did I? No, we're good friends.
Well, guess what? It's Scott that has the crush on you.
You lied to me.
Jonathan's reaction was
He seems like he's a good sport.
certainly one of shock, but the host wasn't quite satisfied, having one more trick up her sleeve in order to garner an even stronger reaction, as she gives the producers the cue to replay Scott's segment, where he discussed his fantasies in depth.
Before we talk, take a look at, we'll show a little playback of what Scott said about you, John. Take a look at that one
Right
down there.
Well, it entails like whipped cream and champagne, stuff like that.
We didn't even hear about the whipped cream or champagne. No.
And from here, the segment comes to a close, with Jonathan reaffirming that he is in fact straight, thus dashing Scott's hopes of ever dating the man.
Did you have any idea that he liked you this much?
No, I did not.
Can you tell us what your status is? Are you involved with anybody, or?
No, but I am definitely heterosexual, I guess you could say.
Leaving the two to head off stage and deal with the messy aftermath of a revelation like this, done on a stage like that.
Who do you want to blame? Who do you want to blame? I kind of want to blame the dude. He's too chill about it. Make more jokes, or, you know? I don't know.
But despite the obvious awkwardness, it actually seemed like both parties took it pretty well, with Jonathan even taking Scott out for dinner that very night to smooth things over, where he again stated that he was flattered but just not interested.
He took him out to dinner?
However, this civility wouldn't last long.
Yeah, isn't he like, you ruined my reputation or something?
I think I just got him in. Okay, calm down, okay? Okay, why did you do that? Okay, I want you to calm down. Okay.
Bro? I mean, if anything, wouldn't that make you cooler, you know? Oh, the ladies love you, the men love you too. It's like, nah, dude, I mean, it is weird, you know, and I would be like, you're a bad friend for even publicly national television. You could have told me, and I could have just called you gay in secret or something. 3 days later, he shoots him though? I'm like, what is, dude, I would be like, I was on TV, and they'll be like, what? I saw that on TV. I'm like, they tricked me. I thought I was there to see magic. I thought it was gonna be a magic show. You know how much, I love magic. Turns out it was Jerry Springer's retarded sister. No, Jenny Jones.
Guns in the car. Okay, I want you to try to calm down. Okay, can you tell me again why you shot the man?
Jenny Jones.
Though he didn't say it at the time, the truth was that Jonathan was left shaken and embarrassed by what had happened on the Jenny Jones show, and despite the fact that the program at this point hadn't even aired yet, it was weighing heavily.
Nah, dude, nah. That's some weird stuff. That's some weird stuff, because why would you go, you shoot him? Someone's like, I have a crush on you, and you shoot, you know what I'm saying? That's like, no. Because it's more Because I'm like, now I'm like, do you think he was like, maybe I got a crush on you too? And then like regretted it or some shit, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no way 3 days later, and then the guy shoots him. It's like, bruh, that guy was also super gay.
on his
You know what I'm
mind,
saying?
just knowing that it would soon be seen by people he knew. And this feeling was only intensified due to the fact that Scott was seemingly not taking no for an answer,
Because
leaving a
it's
note on Jonathan's
funny,
door just
if
3 days
anything.
later, writing, "If you want to turn this off, you'll have to use a tool. It takes a special tool." This note
That is weird. That is okay. I don't know. I don't know. So the dude came back and left a note for Mr. We'll call him straight and gay. I don't know.
was his breaking point. The moment Jonathan
Canceled?
read it was the moment he made his mind up. He was going to kill Scott Amador. He left his house right then and there and purchased a shotgun, which he used to break down Scott's door, approaching the man and firing 2 shots at point-blank range, both of which connected, killing Scott instantly. With his mission accomplished, Jonathan sped away from the scene, calling the police shortly after and confessing to everything, stating his sole motivation for doing this being the humiliation he felt from Scott's own confession on that TV show, as well as his continued flirtation, despite Jonathan's obvious
That's how you know this guy's a good guy, because why not just fucking... Like, you already... Just keep going. Just keep... I mean, there's no stopping. What do you... Oh, I give up. You call them and you're like... So turn me in. I'll be like, no, dude, there's a whole list of people out there. Listen, let's just not go for it. This guy didn't even do it. He had a crush on you?
interest. Though clearly this was no excuse to kill, and as a result, Jonathan was arrested and given 22 years in prison, from which he was released back in 2017. Due to the fallout from this episode, it was pulled from the lineup before it even made it to air, but today the full recording can be found across the internet, giving us a look at the stage on which A Killer was made, and a scene that has now become immortalized as one of the darkest moments.
He gave the chubby girl a kiss, though. I like that, because he definitely expected. He was kind of distraught. And then he was like, looks like I'm just going to ask her what she wants to eat 15 times a day. You know what I'm saying?
Television
That's not that
history.
bad. Nick Crowley. Oh, spook. Is it too loud? That one wasn't too bad. I feel like it's gonna get way darker.
The internet is a dark place, and lurking around
ad?
every corner
Nick,
are companies
what
trying to
ad?
steal and exploit our data. This is why I always recommend
Data
protecting
protection?
yourself online with Aura, the sponsor of today's video. One of my all-time least favorite things in this world are spam phone calls and spam texts. They range from mildly annoying all the way to incredibly
What is
dangerous
Aura?
if you end up clicking on one of those sketchy links. And the unfortunate truth behind why we receive
Nick.
so many of these phone calls and texts is that big companies just
Are we
can't keep
selling
our
them
data
our
safe. Or
information so they
can,
can somehow
and they
block
just
it?
don't. I talked in a previous video about how members contained records were likely still affected by this breach, whether you know it or not. Scammer service that gives me alerts every time my phone number or any sensitive information of mine has been compromised. I also get things like transaction monitoring,
I feel like it's already compromised by doing, I mean, that's
VPN, antivirus, a password manager, parental controls,
a month? $12 a month, you think?
and identity theft insurance. And best of all, I get this in one app at one affordable price. Aura is honestly a great service that I recommend to anyone out there
We
using
recommend
the internet,
it.
which obviously includes you if you're watching
It's
this video.
spooky that
And
they
personally, I'm not
buy your
leaving myself
information,
my
and then if
family.
any of your own information pops up, they're like, we own that, give it back. So it could be spook, but then it's like, I don't know, ever since that honey incident happened, every ad I look at,
vulnerable to data breaches, really free.
what's
Which
the Nick Crowley? It's first and last name.
I've also linked down below in the description.
号的
Link in
晚上
below.
一家人正常入睡，到了5号凌晨，意外发生了。
Oh, Japanese?
5点半早晨，
啊，
我醒了。
醒
我醒来的时候你
No.
He had nowhere else to turn. It had been 11 long excruciating days
What
since
did we miss?
55-year-old Shu Guli had last seen his wife, Lai Hueli, who had vanished from their apartment in the dead of night.
His wife disappeared in the middle
So
of the
now,
night?
desperate for help tracking her down, he took to the local news stations, putting out a public plea for any information that could help bring her home.
I don't believe it.
Her disappearance occurred on the 4th of July, 2020, which also happened to be their daughter's 11th birthday. To celebrate, Shu made the family a special meal, including his daughter's favorite, meatballs, cooking the entire recipe from scratch, even grinding the beef at home. The dinner was supposedly a success, and to finish things off, Lai and her daughter
That's
enjoyed
cute.
a tall glass of milk poured by Shu before the family turned in for the night. Hours later, in the dead of night, Shu woke to use the restroom, and upon getting back into bed, he briefly watched his wife as she was sleeping peacefully next to him, before he fell back asleep. He would never see her again.
What?
24 hours later, Lai Huili was officially reported missing, and a full-blown investigation into her whereabouts was launched.
Why? How?
Which is where things begin to get strange.
I blame
when
the
police
dude.
searched the apartment
It's fake.
complex, they noted a large number of security cameras positioned all over the property,
She
both
never
inside
left,
and
bro.
outside of the building, making it all but certain that Lai would be seen in the footage at some point leaving the apartment, which would at least give investigators a timeline as to when she left.
What?
The footage first shows Lai and her daughter taking the elevator up to their apartment at 5:04 p.m., which was presumably right before their meal. From there, over 6,000 hours of footage would be reviewed frame by frame, though strangely, Lai was never pictured again. To investigators, this was impossible. The cameras covered every single possible exit, and it was shown that not a single route would have made her completely undetectable to them, which quite simply
Did I
meant
already
that she
say
could
that?
not have left the building. She had to be somewhere inside.
We called
and
it
so they searched
instantly.
everywhere in that complex, from the unit she lived in to the AC vents, the water tanks, storage units, everywhere. Though still, they found nothing. Lai was gone, but at the same time, she clearly hadn't left. It was no wonder why Shu felt so helpless in the situation, and fearing that they were reaching a dead end, he began what essentially became his media tour, as he attempted to get as many eyes as possible onto the case in order to help find his wife.
许先生说，7月5号凌晨12点半，他起床上洗手间的时候，妻子还躺在身边。到了清晨5点半，床上就只剩下他一个人。
我也没在意，对吧？
您当时为什么没在意？
发生了这个很正常。
之前有没有发生过这种情况？
没有。
我女儿怎么办？我的生活怎么办？啊，我老婆什么时候回来到底？是我都不知道，现在对吧？
我把女儿叫起来了，因为女儿在隔壁嘛。那么叫起来问了她一下，我说你妈妈有没有看到？她说没看到。我当时也没怎么在意，反正早晨出去吧，就是。那么继续自己的事情。
These media appearances began to happen numerous times a day across essentially any station that would allow him on. Though even when this failed to garner any leads, he kept the pressure on the public, this time by announcing a reward of 100,000 yen for anyone with information that could help lead to her discovery. Meanwhile, investigators kept digging, searching the area again and again,
It's gotta be
but
him,
still,
bro.
it just wasn't adding up. There was no way out of that building that hadn't been thoroughly checked over. Well, except for one.
His room, house?
In what was likely a last-ditch idea, one of the investigators had a hunch that they should check the community's septic tank, as that was really the only place that hadn't been thoroughly picked over yet. And so dozens of trucks moved in to sift through weeks of raw sewage. They searched for 25 hours within the grime, filth, and unbearable stench, until they found something. It was an unusual gooey mass that no one could seem to identify, and wanting to know more, they brought the substance back to the lab for testing, only to discover that they had essentially just solved the case. They had found Lai. Or at least what remained of her. Despite the story Shu had told investigators and the media, things didn't actually happen the way he said they did on that fateful night. Instead, the couple had actually gotten into an argument after Shu had cut his hand while preparing the meatballs, to which he blamed his wife for the injury, causing the two to have a verbal spat. This was supposedly nothing uncommon for the pair, as the marriage had allegedly turned sour years before due to financial strain, meaning that this was far from their first fight, though it would be their last. When Shu handed his wife and daughter their milk for the night, each tall glass had actually been laced with sleeping medication, with the drug immediately taking effect and knocking both of them out. And with the house now silent, he smothered Lai with a pillow, thus ending her life. But if this was the case, then how did she end up in the septic tank? Well, Shu had a plan. He had previously purchased several large butcher knives, which he used to cut his wife into smaller pieces. However, this still wasn't enough for him, as he wanted to make sure that every trace would be discarded in the most effective way possible. And so, he turned to the kitchen, and more specifically, the area he had prepared the meatballs in earlier, before proceeding to place her remains through the meat grinder, turning Lai into an unrecognizable mass of flesh that he would then methodically flush down the toilet over the course of many hours.
What the fuck?
7月4号的晚上，一家人正常入睡。到了5号凌晨，意外发生了。
5点半早晨，我醒了。我醒来的时候你不在。
Despite playing the role of a loving husband and even a victim across his television interviews,
It
this man
doesn't.
had actually...
Again, I feel like if you understand culture, understand like when it comes to English, you could tell when someone's fucking. You know what I'm saying? So it's like by his tone, even if it's like in the "hoshosho, shisho, it's like translation wise, it just doesn't look like the right words to be saying in that moment. You're being racist by being like he gets a free pass to ching ching chong. It's like no, listen to the words. You could tell by the facial. The guy was
not
not.
only killed his wife, and even a
He
victim
was
uncover
doing
remains in a
interviews.
horrendous
Nah.
fashion. And looking back at some of his answers, it's honestly not all that surprising.
一个人他出不去的，按他的智商，老实说，我这么多年了，这也跟他走夫妻了，哎，对他了解，他是出不去的，就是。
As a result of his crimes,
Given her
Shugurai
intelligence,
would be
what the
sentenced to
fuck,
death,
dude?
with his execution being set to happen in the near future.
Oh, good. I like China. They're still firing squads. Chapter 3. Keijin Nagagati. What do you think this is about? Underdeveloped country?
September
Religion?
27, 2007. Cameras document an unfolding protest in Yangon, Myanmar, as thousands of people take to the streets to express their displeasure with their government. The demonstration was part of an emerging struggle later known as the Saffron Revolution, with tensions having risen in the month prior, when the government made the decision to remove subsidies on the price of gasoline, thus causing gas prices to inflate overnight by over 60%, throwing the economy into instant turmoil. In response, this Saffron Revolution began, which was largely spearheaded by the monks of the region, who all preached a peaceful protest, believing that the government would soon come to its senses when they saw that their citizens were unified against them. However, the government showed no signs of letting up. In fact, on this day, they had actually begun taking offensive measures, going as far as to arrest hundreds of monks in response to their picketing. For the residents, this display was shocking, as they struggled to understand how their own government could jail these religious figures. But they had no idea just how much crueler they could get.
Are they torturing
As the
monks?
demonstrators marched in the street that day, a line of officers announced that they had 10 minutes to go home, or else they would face dire punishment. But the crowd refused to back down, being intent on marching on to let the world know just how serious they were. And with neither side willing to budge, the officers began to fire their weapons, first into the air as a warning, and then directly at the protesters. It was a massacre, with the official death toll being 10 innocent civilians, while others on site that day posited that the number was likely much higher. The footage is disturbing on its own, but there was another layer to this ordeal, one unexpected variable. A man named Kenji Nagai.
What is happening?
Nagai was a journalist from Japan with a lengthy track record of reporting on situations in dangerous, even war-torn countries, building up an impressive resume in the journalism community. And during the Saffron Revolution, he was visiting the region with his camera to document the events firsthand, as he had done with so many conflicts before. Yet despite having so-called special protection due to his journalist status, Kenji never made it back home, with Myanmar officials reporting that he had accidentally been struck in the chest by a stray bullet, making him the only foreign casualty in this ordeal. The revelation was obviously heartbreaking,
Sending in the chivalry
for his family and
cavalry?
for the entire country of Japan, who strongly condemned the slaying of Kenji, as well as the slaying of the other
dude,
protesters.
foreign person dies, like if any, that's when the entire country just goes ride or die for that one guy. Archduke Franz Ferdinand type beat.
But still, officials in Myanmar asserted that this was all just an unfortunate accident, a classic case of a man being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But this was only the beginning of the story.
This one man, foreign entity, sparks a revolution. I hope so.
Days later, the Japanese media would receive a video recording of the bloodshed that occurred on that notorious day, when the streets of Yangon turned into a one-sided battlefield, and the contents were alarming to say the least.
Oh damn, you see that person fall?
この時カメラは倒れ込む半ズボン姿の男性を捉えていた。
The footage shows a crowd of people desperately running for their lives, when in the corner of the frame you can see a man dressed in white, holding a camera as he falls to the ground. It was Kenji Nagai. And he hadn't tripped or even been shot at this point, but instead, he was seen being pushed by a soldier who now pointed his weapon at the man who was now lying helplessly on the ground and fired a shot directly into his chest, leaving him there to die. Following this, a separate photographer on the scene managed to capture an image of Kenji moments after the attack, and in the photo, Nagai was still holding onto his camera, documenting the carnage around him, as he laid there bleeding to death, having taken a bullet directly into his heart. The revelation was shocking for a few reasons. Most obviously, it disproved the initial claims that Kenji Nagai had been shot by a stray bullet, as this was clearly and quite literally an execution, but it also showed the entire world these harrowing yet inspiring images of a fearless, passionate journalist who continued documenting the battle around him, even as the life left his body, with his corpse being shown minutes later still holding on to that camera. Which leaves us with one burning question. What happened to that camera? Kenji Nagai had quite literally given his life to capture the images on that device, and with the man being so close to the action, it was likely that whatever was on that camera was incredible, and perhaps even showed his execution up close, which could give more details about how exactly his passing came to be. Yet when his body was returned back to his family in Japan,
I don't know how
that camera was nowhere to be found, despite it being in his hands when he passed. Had it been left behind? Was it destroyed in the carnage? Well, it wouldn't take long for these two questions to be answered, as more footage of the event would soon emerge, again on Japanese television. The clip appeared to show one of the soldiers responsible for Kenji's death going in and physically prying the camera from the dead man's hand, and from that point on, it had never been seen again. And with that, one of the most unique lost media searches of all time was underway, and this wasn't an example of lost media.
That should be legal. Dude, journalism should be a protected right amongst humanity.
Yeah, that's better off staying lost either, as
You know what
Kenji's
I'm
own
saying?
family was desperate to get this camera back in order to showcase his final images to the world. And so they put out various requests, pleas, and even started a petition begging the government of Myanmar to turn the camera over,
That's not
assuming
gonna-
that they were the ones who held it in their
You would
possession.
need...
Though despite the immense public pressure throughout the years, nothing ever came of their pleas. In fact, not only did the Myanmar government refuse to give it up, but they continued to assert that Kenji's death was nothing more
Who's this
than
Myanmar government? Dude, these people are third world, Ian, and we don't care for them. They're not human. The people who live there could be humans, but the people, the government officials, the federal bureau government, those bureaucrats, fuck them.
And for
No,
many-
they shoot and kill. They were like, oh, we got killed by a stray bullet. That was a straight up execution of a journalist, a foreign journalist.
years it would remain this way, until out of nowhere, a full decade and a half later,
What? No shot. How did they even have it? Motherfuckers had to fucking recreate it or something. There ain't no way. Whoa.
a press conference was held with the family of Kenji Nagai as the camera was finally returned to their possession. The story of how this camera got back to them is almost entirely a mystery. A group called the Democratic Voice of Burma was involved in some capacity, though they credited an unnamed individual as the catalyst behind its recovery, with many believing that this person had likely stolen the camera from the government and smuggled it out of Myanmar. But aside from this speculation, no further information
Yeah, thank God for that person who stole it, because there ain't no way that this camera should even exist.
was provided, which was probably done to ensure the safety of the individual
Holy.
involved. And despite having no confirmation as to where this camera had actually been, the family finally had it in their possession after 15 long years. And they've actually gone on to release bits and pieces of the footage from that day to the media, which finally gives us a look into some of Kenji's final moments.
What the hell?
ただいま軍がですね、到着しました。あそこにあるのは軍です。重装備した軍隊だと思います。皆さんこうして市民がですね集結しています。そうした中重装備した軍隊のトラックが到着しました。
Is that when they get out and approach him?
Moments after pointing out the military that had moved in to quell the protest, Kenji was executed by one of those very soldiers. It's unclear how much more footage was actually on that camera, but for the time being this is all that's been released to the public, and it's likely to remain that way forever. Today, his family hopes that this footage will help highlight the fact that the problems in Myanmar are actually still very prevalent, with the civil unrest continuing to lead to the deaths of hundreds, even thousands of people per year. As for many of the citizens, the battle rages on. Though in a somewhat poetic fashion, the recovery of Kenji's camera actually brought the situation back into the news cycle, meaning that even after his death, Kenji Nagai continues to make a difference.
That was fucking cool. German? Within Das? Russian? Is this a Russian TV show? Within Dash.
It was always a big deal when Wet and Dash would go on air. After all, it was far and away the most popular show in all of Europe, drawing in millions of viewers to see what crazy segments the show would come up with. The premise of the show was that the contestants were given various unusual challenges that they would attempt to complete in front of a live television audience, with these challenges always being somewhat tailored to the contestants' lives. Though these silly challenges would usually be contrasted by someone attempting something a bit more daring, with these stunts often being reserved for people with some sort of special training beforehand, to assure that they were physically and mentally up to the task in order to avoid
How is that guy
injury.
jumping like that? That looks fake
The
as
show was very
hell.
intriguing, with an air of fun and danger all rolled into one, as you never really knew what you were going to get when you tuned in, leading to their program polling roughly 20 million viewers per episode at its peak, which was also helped by the A-list celebrities that often made appearances. And on December 4th, 2010, the lineup was particularly stacked, with Cameron Diaz being featured as well as Justin Bieber, who was set to perform in front of the millions watching at home.
Cameron Diaz?
But first,
I love
things
Cameron
would start
Diaz.
off with a stunt performed by 23-year-old Samuel Koch. Samuel was a stuntman and actor in training, already having one stunt credit to his name and a vast amount of training under his belt, making him the perfect candidate to perform something more dangerous and physically demanding. With this in mind, Samuel was given the task of jumping over 5 moving cars, each of which progressively getting longer and harder to clear. And in order to help make things a bit easier, he was given spring-loaded boots or kangaroo shoes, which would allow him to jump higher. The stunt was right on the border of Samuel's capabilities, as during his practice runs he was just able to clear most of the vehicles, though not without falling multiple times, making it a true challenge, which was what the show was all about. And at Samuel's request, his segment would open the show, with his mother watching from the stands, having a microphone attached to her, ready to capture her reaction.
Oh no, dude. This guy's gonna get hit by a moving car? Is that... This is the beginning, Nick. Does this get way worse? What, is the guy reversed on him? Beautiful smart car. That was an awesome jump. Backflip.
The first
Barely
jump goes
made
off
it.
cleanly, making it obvious that Samuel could actually do this. Though when approaching the second
It was close, dude. What's gonna happen? Same Mini Coupe, maybe a little bit bigger.
Samuel bails out, feeling as though something wasn't quite right with his approach. This meant that he would now have to execute the next 3 jumps without fail, or else he would lose the bet. And with the pressure mounting as the third car approached...
Oh, and it's a bigger car this time? Start lagging a little bit. What? 2705. I mean, it's lagging a little bit. That one went good. Clean car.
He nailed it, leaving him just 2 jumps away from winning the prize. Though waiting for him inside that 4th car was a surprise. The drivers of these vehicles weren't just employees of the show, they were actually people Samuel knew, all of which had been good friends of his up until this point.
Except the 4th one.
But for the 4th car, with the pressure already on, it would be his own father behind the wheel.
His own dad? No way, why does it keep lagging?
They both look at each other from afar as Samuel raises his hand and his father raises his back, as the two begin towards each other.
Sorry. I have you. His dad is gonna kill him? No way, dude, please. This is like... I don't think God could write a scarier story. He hit his head right there.
Samuel jumps, but immediately something is wrong. He's just a bit too low, causing the back of his head to make contact with the windshield.
He's wearing a
From the
helmet?
footage, it looks like just a graze, so insignificant that you might miss it. But in reality, it's believed that in this moment, Samuel hit his head in such a way that he was knocked unconscious, leaving him in the air with no way of sticking his landing. And with that, he falls to the ground, unable to protect himself, landing directly onto his face, with his mother's microphone briefly capturing her initial reaction.
Oh, this one was bad. It was his dad, too. What the frick? It barely... Dude, what are the numbers? They're usually pulling 20 million views. This one had it done like 35, 40, dude. I swear.
The camera cuts to one of the judges, whose face tells us just how bad the scene is. Samuel isn't moving, and is totally unresponsive. Even as his mother runs from the stands to comfort him, he doesn't move an inch. Even worse, the program was beloved due to the fact that
he's
they
not
aired
dead,
no
though.
commercials. It was a live feed for as long as 3 hours, meaning that they had no commercial break to cut to. And remember, this was the very first segment.
3 hours? No commercials?
Instead, the camera showed the audience, all of whom were standing there stunned in complete silence, as paramedics rush in to help the man. It would be several excruciating minutes before the host, Thomas Gottschalk, announced that the show would be cancelled for the evening, ending the program early for the very first time in its history.
Dankeschön, bis gleich, hoffentlich.
He died?
With the host being so shaken by what he had witnessed that he resigned immediately after the
He
show.
does seem...
The good news was Samuel was alive, though he was in rough shape. 2 of his cervical vertebrae had been fractured and his spinal cord was badly damaged.
How come they do that? How come people decide to resign? I don't understand that. It's not like the host of this TV show is behind, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think they're gonna get sued or something? They're like, nah, I resigned.
Left him fully paralyzed from the neck down, turning him instantly into a quadriplegic. And what makes the situation that much more depressing was that, again, his father was the one driving, likely leaving him with unimaginable guilt, despite the fact that it clearly wasn't his fault.
It was his dad's fault. He hit him with a car.
But despite this awful tragedy, Samuel's story is actually quite inspiring in the end, as he's gone on to become a successful actor, and even has a credit as an assistant director, taking what was quite possibly the worst hand he could have ever been dealt with, and going out there and achieving his dreams regardless.
That's cool.
Though meanwhile, Wetten Das never really recovered from the incident, and would be cancelled just a few years later due to low ratings, with the most popular episode after the incident being one where Samuel himself actually made an appearance, where he forgave the show and claimed that what happened to him was not their fault. Though it seems the general public was not able to forget that horrific moment they had all witnessed on live TV.
Why, dude? It wasn't even that guy's fault.
There's one magical, haunted evening each year when all the scary creatures come out to prowl through every neighborhood.
They should sue that
It's
guy
Halloween
for
night,
tanking their views.
People
no?
across the UK are just getting home and settling in for the night.
Guy went on a suicide mission and then blames the show. No. I think that Russian TV show was lit. Cameron Diaz was supposed to be there.
Their televisions in search of some spooky
Cameron
content.
Diaz saw this guy get hit by a car. And Justin Bieber. No, because they were supposed to be there that night. So both of them saw this guy just get hit by a car and died. Like again, this is, but you're like, Justin Bieber has been through so much, the Diddy and the freaking Kevin Hart and the whatever. So it's like, I add that to the roster. I had no idea. Dude, Justin Bieber was there that night in the Russian studio because he was supposed to be like one of the people opening, I guess. Motherfucker was backstage and they were like, yeah, some guy just died. Go home. They're like, what?
To fit the mood, only to find a rather surprising option.
The Cameron Diaz one kind of blows my
surprising
mind.
Source, the BBC. They were airing a new special called Ghost Watch, a daring mission that followed famed BBC presenter Michael Parkinson and a team of reporters as they aimed to capture definitive proof of the existence of ghosts. And to add another layer of tension, they would attempt to do so live on TV. At the time,
I'll tell you what, I don't believe in ghosts, but I am interested in ghost videos. Because sometimes when you see the people like talking to themselves and they'll like handshake a motherfucking ghost. Like they're like handshaking and talking to a ghost. That's not how you handshake someone in real life. So like they're delusionized to the fact where they know they're not handshaking anyone. They're like doing it for like some weird, I don't know how to explain it, but you ever see those motherfuckers talking to ghosts? Like it's like a security camera and a security guard was like, an old woman came by, drenched in water, looking for her drowned babies. Do you guys remember that old urban legend? And then you see this motherfucking security guard like handshaking like this. It's like, how are you shaking a ghost hand fucking like that, bro? And then it's like, is there a grip? Are you know what I'm saying? There's no, again, and then even with when they're looking at the ghost and talking to it, they're not looking at a person. You could tell they're looking like through it. Oh, my thing's green. Those ones are interesting, but I do like ghost videos. Like if something that I can't explain, like is like sometimes you could just be like something's a string, like it's someone pulling on a string. Then it's like if there's no conceivable way to have a string set up and it still looks like a motherfucking string is pulling on it, I'm like, that's a ghost. No, because there's just one where this guy checks his pantry. The pantry is fucked, yeah? And then a knife gets like flown out of the thing. But then it's like a string could have been connected to the knife, yeah? But then I swear to God, this guy like goes in the pantry and he's like angry at the ghost. He's like, fuck you. If there's a ghost, I'll beat your ass or something. And then the knife comes flying at him. So it's like his reaction plus how that shit looked like a string but just wasn't makes it real to me. Like those types of ghost videos are rare.
Extremely unique, especially for the BBC, which was known to be one of the most trusted news stations.
Because once people find out acting might affect how a ghost video is, what if they just become better actors? And I'm like, I kind of don't want that. But like anytime I see a video like a bro and he's like recording a ghost and he's like, I'll fight you right here, right now. I'll die. I'll kill a ghost twice. You're already dead, ghost? I'll kill you again. Like those videos, I instantly believe. Like if it's like some meathead footballer guy and he's like, I ain't never fuck with no spooky ghosts, I believe those because it's like what spooks those motherfuckers out? You know what I'm saying? Not like a homeless tweaker in an abandoned building. No. What scares those people? Actual ghosts, the unexplainable.
In the UK.
No.
And making things even more interesting, they weren't going to be doing their investigation at a well-known haunted destination, but rather a simple suburban home. A home inhabited by
We have a ghost. We'll have to tour it. We have a ghost town city hotel thing near in California somewhere. Like I swear it's like known for ghosts.
Family and what they claim to be an intense, even violent spirit named Mr. Pipes. The name was given because the spirit produced loud banging noises, which the mother initially believed to be the home's old water pipes. The mother's name was Pamela Early, and she lived in the home with her two daughters, Suzanne and Kim, and for months they had been desperately trying to get the media's attention.
Wait. This is Nick? Darkest Moments in TV History? So this one's a ghost. This one's a real person. Something spook.
To help with these hauntings.
Like Nick.
However, most reporters who
Don't do
visited
this
the
to
scene
us.
labeled
Come
them
on.
as crazy. And so this was their moment to prove to the world that these paranormal occurrences were in fact real. Though early on, most viewers were left feeling the exact opposite way. Inside the home, reporter Sarah Green
What
would
if someone's in the house,
experience
bro?
essentially no activity for the first hour, with Michael Parkinson and a skeptic they had brought on for an interview casting serious doubt that the phenomena experienced inside the home prior was anything supernatural, instead blaming these supposed occurrences on psychological issues. And things only got worse from here, as upon hearing Mr. Pipe's infamous banging noises, Sarah actually caught Suzanne making the sounds herself by hitting a hammer against the wall, essentially disproving the entire story of the house.
Quite extraordinary. We set out to catch a ghost, and sadly, very sadly, what we witnessed
I don't
was
like
a
that. Why were they making
exposure of a hoax.
Let's not be too hasty.
Oh, come on, Doctor, please.
It was a rough showing. However, by the show's final hour, things began to take an unexpected turn.
Final hour? How long was this TV show, bro?
It's all right, love. Oh, don't get upset, love. Your mum's here. Oh, dear God.
Suddenly, the show cuts to Suzanne, who is lying unresponsive in her bedroom, completely covered in scratches, thrusting the broadcast into utter chaos.
We will stay with you. What was that? Where are we going? Just outside. Where are we going? Come on.
As they rush to help her, loud banging noises emanate from all across the home, despite the fact that everyone was now accounted for. It was horrifying, and made even more so as the camera shows Suzanne hiding behind a couch.
Susie. Stop it! Stop it, Susie!
Where she begins to speak in a low, unrecognizable voice.
How is she speaking like that? How is she There's no way, dude. There's no way. No, that's like some pirate software. That's like voice changer. Yo. No, dude, did you see the look in her face? Again, that could be psychosis. It could be like you could chalk it up to an experience of psychosis. The voice? No, dude, no. That girl sounded like a pretty girl. Like a nice, wholesome. Dude, this sounds like pirate software put on his voice changer. No, dude.
As if she...
Rewind it.
Stop it! Stop!
Like it's not raspy. It's not like it's not. That's someone else's voice. This is the first time I've ever seen. Oh my, yeah, but then it's like sticking with the bit. That's what matters, because maybe as of right now, I could do a funny accent. I could make my voice higher, make my voice lower. So I'm not impressed I'm more impressed with the fact that she's not breaking the bit. Look at her face. We're just paused on it. She's covered in scratches. Dude, this has gotta be. Do you think she wants her family to do good? So she's like, I gotta play. We got the cameras in the house, the news. This ghost is me. I'm the ghost. Like, what if she's like, dude, my family's chasing that ghost bag. We need the ghost bag. Yeah, if my dad supported me, he'd be like, JR, I want you playing as much video games as you can. React to anything you can. Play as much video games. I'd be like, you're so supportive. She is so supportive that she possessed herself? No idea. That voice kind of...
It's Susie.
Where she begins to speak in a low, unrecognizable voice,
dude.
Almost as if she was possessed.
I've never, yeah,
now,
I
in
believe
case you
it.
haven't caught on yet,
Does that mean I'm easily tricked? Does that mean I'm just an easily convinced person though? All she has to do is put on like a fake ghost voice. But then I'm like, that sounded dark. Like that didn't sound like she would be able to emulate that.
Is a work of fiction. The entire show was actually a staged, pre-recorded movie, with everyone you see here being actors, except for Michael Parkinson, who was actually a presenter of the BBC.
Bum bum bum. She was acting. It was it was faked. It was all staged. Now this is real, presumably. Like it's based off of a real story, but why was it so convincing? It's because it was fake the whole
to
time.
make the movie look as authentic as possible, in order to terrify the viewers. In fact, the show had even started with a brief disclaimer, explaining that this was all going to be a staged performance.
Now, on BBC One, Screen One presents an unusual and sometimes disturbing film marking Halloween. Using the modern idiom of the outside broadcast, Michael Parkinson, Sarah Green, Mike Smith and Craig Charles star in Ghostwatch.
But the problem was, most people didn't see this. And with the movie aiming to look as authentic as possible...
Even with that explanation, so it's just a movie. And it's okay, that makes sense that it's a couple hours now.
Many just took it at face value, and truly believed that
Ghostwatch
they were watching
sounds like
an
a
actual
TV show.
real-life possession unfolding before their eyes.
This would fuck
and the
me up
program
if
wasn't over either.
It's like World at Wars or
I won't
something?
spoil too much of the film, but from this point on, everything is chaotic and extremely tense, leading to the revelation being made that through this program, they had essentially just performed one massive seance, which left each of the 11 million viewers watching at home supposedly susceptible to demonic possession, with the program ending with Michael Parkinson himself.
Dude, that means, that's so funny. Cause this is War of the Worlds that was broadcasted on radio, and then people tuned in and they thought it was real. And you were like, how would I, a cerebral, be tricked into such tomfoolery? And it's like, no, dude, this Ghost Watcher thing, I would have fell for this. If they just if they just uploaded it, and then at the end of this movie, the studio gets possessed, and then the people watching get possessed or whatever. That's like the whole movie spooky. Dude, I would have shit my pants after watching this. I would have been like, BBC, please,
becoming
bro.
possessed.
Yeah, for this whole thing to be a movie, it's just because they're British, so I just assuming.
I'm not going.
Round and round the garden like a teddy bear.
What? Round and round in the garden like a teddy bear? What does that mean?
After which the camera shuts off and Ghostwatch
Have you seen that
comes to
thing?
an end.
Cadaver.
The program
It's a
immediately
manner.
caused widespread panic, with the network receiving over
Cranium.
30,000 phone calls
Have
that
you seen
night,
that?
most of which coming from horrified
TikTok.
viewers.
It's
Even
a ghoul,
Parkinson's own
not a
mother phoned the
ghost.
show in hysterics, as she genuinely believed her son had been possessed and potentially even killed. The stories from that night are incredible, with one woman calling the show and demanding compensation for a new pair of trousers, as her husband had quite literally defecated himself out of fear, as well as two boys who presented to their
iDubbbz, just in general, iDubbbz. I think he shits himself. Listen, I make a lot of jokes about shitting myself. I think it's funny, and I don't think you should be ashamed if you ever poop your pants. Listen, poop your pants, I'll poop my pants with you. We stand together with pooping my pants. What I am saying is, what was that? iDubbbz shit his pants. He was so scared. Topical. Give me that. iDubbbz and Anissa are doing OnlyFans again. He's a very supportive wife. No, dude, iDubbbz shit his pants. Can I come up with more memes?
doctors with symptoms of PTSD.
I make a lot of poop my pants jokes, and that's just because of how fucking strong I am, dude. I'm like, I'll stand with you. I'll shit my pants first, so you don't have to feel self-conscious about pooping in your pants. Think about it.
It was complete and utter
You're welcome,
madness.
iDubbbz.
But of all the reactions
No,
to Ghostwatch,
and you know what? I think he has like IBS. Dude, am I just making up diseases? Dude, iDubbbz literally has a stomach disease where he shits himself. Hey, I'm not like hey, everyone on the internet, be nice to people. Motherfuckers, he has a disease. Like a literal, that's like making fun of someone for cancer. Or, it's like, how are you? Yeah, make fun of him being a weird cuck to his wife or something. Make fun of him for failing at doing Creator Clash and having. But oh my God, making fun of him for having a literal disease? Like you guys have the disease, psychological one. Watch this and then you'll catch a ghost. Yeah, you motherfuckers out there catching ghosts? I'm like, you guys.
one individual took it the hardest. Among the 11 million viewers watching was an 18-year-old named Martin Denham, who was tuning in from his family's living room with his parents and younger sister. As the show progressed, Michael...
What? I forgot there was a dark turn, super dark turn. This was so lighthearted. Nick is really good with the friggin' out of left field. Because 11 million people tuned in to watch this Ghostwatch show. One of them probably tweaked out, and we're gonna listen to what he did.
began acting strangely, curling up into a ball and becoming unresponsive. All the while, his eyes stayed locked on the screen, watching these horrific events.
Dude, this guy got possessed. He got possessed by a fake ghost on a fake movie TV show. Dude, the brain is so powerful. But that's why it's like what comes before everything is my second guessing. I'll think about something 400 different times, and I'll be like, let me think about it one more time, because I don't trust myself. I don't trust the information I was given. What are words? Just sounds that you can understand? That I can understand? Is anything meant to be understood? I just want to be understood, but I don't even know what I am. No. But then it's like, dude, this motherfucker, dude, I would look at my son and be like, I disowned you. In this very moment, you are being possessed by a fake ghost in a fake TV movie show broadcast by the BBC. You failed me, dude. You're falling for a pyramid scheme. You're buying vitamins that you don't even need. You failed me. No.
unfold, with his family describing it as if he had been hypnotized. Now, Martin did suffer from
Hypnotized makes
a
sense.
learning disability, which apparently affected his behavior at times, but this was something entirely new. Starting that night, he was overcome with intense paranoia, as he began hearing noises around the house, which his parents recognized as the water pipes. This explanation
Oh my God. Yeah, but you could be scared of something. Like if I watch something and I'm scared of it, that's not some psychosis.
only increased Martin's fear, however, as this was the exact excuse the mother had used on Ghostwatch to initially explain the paranormal phenomena. And so each time he heard these deep thudding noises, he believed they were coming from Mr. Pipes, with a spirit infiltrating his home thanks to that cursed show that he still believed to be real.
That is fair.
Over the next few days, Martin refused to spend any time in the dark, and even asked to switch bedrooms as he believed Mr. Pipes was hiding in his walls. But nothing could alleviate his panic. It was all just too much.
I have the short story. Whoa, what? Kills the son? The son died because of that? What? How did the TV show do this? I was just gonna say, because sleeping in your parents' room, there was a time when I was younger, I was possessed, and it's not even real, bro. I don't believe it. My mom thought I was possessed, though. She called Hawaiian priests to have me exorcised. Dude, I was surrounded by like weird, they were wearing masks and chanting and fucking the tiki torches or whatever. Like that shit was spook, yeah? My dad was like, "You have a fever, you're sick." But like something happened in my brain where I would legit like see shit in the dark, like bright, movable objects, pitch black. Like I could be in my room dark and I would see fucking the scariest shit. I ended up sleeping in my dad's room for maybe like 5 or 6 years. Like I was in middle school and then I stopped sleeping in his room maybe high school sophomore year. Like it was a long time. Like I think I started sleep and I had my own room because I was a dude or whatever. My sisters like shared a room. Dude, I never even slept in my own room from like the ages of let's say like 8 or 9 to like all the way to maybe like 15, bro. I was way too old still sleeping in my dad's room. And it's cuz I was genuinely scared of like the unexplainable. I guess it would be ghosts, yeah, but then I'm like these motherfuckers aren't ghosts. I'm seeing. And then it just went away. I think I grew up. Like I do remember though it was pretty bad. If you ask my dad about it, he'd be like that motherfucker. Fucking with sometimes he'd watch TV, yeah. I would be like, "Can we watch Robin Big or like the MTV shows?" My dad loved watching those shows, but like he was into spooky. Like he wanted to watch like NCIS drama and other things. Dude, that shit would make me even more scared. Like I'd go to bed crying, like whimpering at like nothing. At everything, dude, everything in the world just collapsing on me as a kid, and then I'm just weeping. I'm like, Dad, bro, life is so hard. No, I do think it's funny that this guy slept in his parents' room because I'm like, same, bro. That's nothing to be sad about. How did this TV show kill you, though?
Days after Ghostwatch aired, Martin died.
Suez. Oh no, he
Would end
uninstalled.
his own life, leaving behind a note that read, "Please don't worry. If there is ghosts, I will now be one, and I will always be with you as one."
What?
Ghostwatch was created.
Fuck, dude. Please don't worry. If there is ghosts, I will be one. He doesn't even know if there's ghosts or not. I will be what? And I will always be with you as one. If he is a ghost, he'll always be with them.
Ghostwatch was created to provide a viewing experience that was as realistic as possible, and unfortunately in this case it succeeded a little too well, thus causing the show to be banned from broadcast in the UK, where it has never aired since.
What?
Though today, you can still find the full movie across various streaming services, where despite the terrible, unfortunate tragedy that entailed, it's still renowned as an integral part of horror history. While
I feel like finding this movie and just reacting to it. We've done it before to a couple things, and those videos are just lost episodes of mine. Like episodes that just don't exist, but I filmed and they do exist. But we did it to Dexter, Alien Code, maybe this movie. think there's a couple other TV shows that we've reacted to. It's just like if they block it in like 3 different countries or whatever, it pops up and it's like we're blocking this in Russia, Bulgaria usually gets blocked first. I'm like, where's my Russian fans? I kind of want to react to this movie.
It's being remembered as one of the darkest moments in television history.
Holy fuck, super spook. Oh my god. Thanks for watching. Big Bing Bong. This was a long episode. Thanks for watching. I love you. And guess spook, honestly. Let's read some of these actually. Second one must be sad for the daughter. Imagine waking up and knowing your father killed your Oh, that was the Japanese one. Oh, very bad. Bing Bing Bong.